And now enjoy Brent Marchant's The Cinema Scribe.
My thanks to Bring Me to Life Radio, and welcome to the Cinema Scribe. What does it take to love someone? The answer may surprise you, as its origins actually stem from a source that might not be recognized at first glance. But making that realization is crucial if we ever hope to find that true love, an insight pursued in earnest in the delightful new romantic comedy parody, Isn't It Romantic? When pudgy 12-year-old Aussie Natalie, played by Alexandra Kiss, gawks at a screening of the 1990 romantic fantasy Pretty Woman, she longs for the same kind of happily ever after ending for herself experienced by lead characters Richard Gere and Julia Roberts. But that wide-eyed wonder is summarily quashed by the hard-edged cynicism of her mother, played by Jennifer Saunders, who tells her daughter that such outcomes are unrealistic for common folk like them. Needless to say, Natalie is crushed, but she nevertheless takes the advice as gospel. Fast forward to the present day, when a 20-something Natalie, played by Rebel Wilson, is now an architect living in New York. However, despite the seeming prestige such a position should offer, she's often put upon by coworkers who ask her to perform menial tasks for them or even do their jobs. Even her personal assistant, Whitney, played by Betty Gilpin, is of little help, spending her days endlessly watching romantic comedies on her computer. About the only person in her corner is her coworker Josh, played by Adam Devine, who actively seeks to court her friendship and build up her morale. But even that encouragement does little to bolster her spirits when she's treated shabbily during a project presentation by one of the firm's clients, Blake, played by Liam Hemsworth, who thoughtlessly assumes that she is the coffee girl and not the professional that she is. Such treatment only reinforces the general malaise she feels about her life. With little respect at her office, no looming romantic prospects, and even a pet dog that ignores her, Natalie feels like life is passing her by. But she accepts and expects that, an attitude that echoes the sentiments planted in her mind by her mother all those years ago. She even chastises Whitney for wasting so much time watching her silly movies, claiming that they, like the film that she gawked at as a youngster, paint an implausible picture of romance. Natalie recites a litany of cliches that characterize the pictures of that genre, and itemizes how their narratives fill the heads of their viewers with naive, unrealistic notions about love. After yet another unfulfilling day at work, while riding home on the New York City subway, Natalie gets hit on by a flirty stranger, played by Dean Neistat. Unfortunately, the would-be suitor turns out to be a mugger. But despite an attempt at snatching Natalie's purse, the attacker is unprepared for his victim's ability to fight back, an effort at which she nearly succeeds, were it not for running into a support beam and knocking herself unconscious. When Natalie awakens, though, she finds herself in an emergency room unlike anything she's ever seen. The designer hospital suite looks more like something from an interior decorator's studio than a healthcare facility. The attending physician is a hunk, and flowers adorn everything. And upon release, Natalie discovers a streetscape that resembles the set of a Hallmark movie. Natalie naturally wonders how New York ended up looking like this. Gone are the grubbiness and the foul smells to which she's grown accustomed, and everywhere she looks she sees couples madly in love. Given that everything she's witnessing goes against her views about reality, she's convinced that she's got to find a way to escape and get back to the existence that she knows and loves? Yet, as she makes her way through this alternative existence, she finds virtually everything is now working to her benefit. Her apartment has been transformed into something out of Architectural Digest. Her dog adores her, and Blake, the client who previously treated her like dirt, is now head over heels in love with her. But is this allegedly perfect reality everything it's cracked up to be? Whitney, for example, has suddenly been transformed from a warm and supportive colleague into a wicked witch. Josh, though still in Natalie's corner, has taken a shine to a supermodel, Isabella, played by Priyanka Chopra. Blake, despite his claims of undying love, reveals that his affection comes with strings. So given all that, is this really where Natalie wants to stay? And if not, how does she escape? The answer is not out of reach, but Natalie will need to discover where to look, and that may prove challenging. However, if she really wants to make a change, one that ultimately involves more than just a return to the reality she knows, she'll have to take on that challenge. And the answer may surprise her, and us. The quest to find the meaning of true love can take many twists and turns. And since most of us are born without a guidebook, that can turn the search into an exercise in trial and error. We may look at the examples set by others. We may attempt winging it on our own. Or we may turn to others for advice, as Natalie does in consulting her best friend and next-door neighbor, Donnie, played by Brandon Scott Jones, the sort of unattached, flamboyant, but infinitely wise gay man who often makes it for a staple rom-com character. But in the end, given that it is us who have engaged in this search, perhaps we should consider starting with ourselves to see what we bring to the table of romance. Once we do that, we may find our quest much easier to fulfill. While at times a bit belaboring and at other times somewhat underdeveloped, Isn't It Romantic is a genuinely charming rom-com parody reminiscent of the fun-filled independent production 500 Days of Summer from 2009, albeit somewhat more commercial. The picture delivers lots of laughs and nice sentiments about matters that go beyond romance. Rebel Wilson shows that she can carry a lead role effectively, serving up the goods at every turn. And the film's skewering of romantic comedy cliches, such as the inclusion of several impromptu, perfectly choreographed, over-the-top music video sequences, is an absolute hoot. What a pleasant Valentine's Day treat. For something that we place so much attention on, you'd think that we'd be all experts by now when it comes to this thing called love. If only that were true. But that's not to say we can't master it with the right attitude, the right outlook, and a willingness to put the work in to figure it out. After all, for those of us who've succeeded at this, we can honestly say that the effort is well worth it. And that truly is romantic. I'm Brent Marchant, the Cinema Scribe. Thanks for listening.
A lifelong movie fan and longtime student of metaphysics, Cinema Scribe Brent Marchant is the award-winning author of Get the Picture, Conscious Creation Goes to the Movies, Consciously Created Cinema, The Movie Lover's Guide to the Law of Attraction, and Third Reel Conscious Creation Goes Back to the Movies, all of which provide reader-friendly looks at how the practice of conscious creation, also known as the Law of Attraction, is illustrated through film. Brett maintains an ongoing blog about metaphysical cinema and other self-empowerment topics through his website, www.brentmarchant.com. He's also the movie correspondent for the Good Radio Network and New Consciousness Review magazine and radio, with additional writing contributions to Smart Women's Empowerment, The Happy Guide, Library Journal, Belief Net, Vivid Life, New Age News, and Master Heart Magazine. Brett holds a BA in magazine journalism and history from Syracuse University. Again, check him out at www.brentmarchant.com.